Hello, hello to the Artist Live Ustream. I am Jen Engel, better known as Mixed Media Jenn. Thank you for being here. I'm a little early, so we'll wait a little bit and let some more people come. I am very, very excited to be here today. I try to catch the Artist Live replay when it comes up on the YouTube channel because I'm usually at work at this time. So it is very exciting for me to be here because I'm a big fan. So it's about 2 o'clock now. Can everybody hear me okay? Let me see. I can't see my oh, there we go. Hi guys. Hello, hello. Hey everyone. There's my chat. I couldn't see it for a minute. I was like freaking out. Okay, there it is. Okay, so today I am going to make these two ATCs. Let's see. I'm going to dive right in because I am a unusually slow crafter and I want to get both of them in. Hi everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I am thrilled to death to be here. Okay. Picture's a bit blurry. I wonder if that is my my webcam that's making it blurry, or if that's something. I have the resolution on high. Let me see. Let me see if I can change the quality a little bit. Alright, I bumped up the quality. Hopefully, I'm using a webcam and it's probably going to be a little bit blurry. Unfortunately, I apologize for that. Hopefully you'll be able to get the idea anyway. Okay, so I'm making ATCs today. If you're unfamiliar with ATCs, they are 2.5 by 3.5 inches. And I started out with these using some of these, like they're called Mixed Media. The name of them, they're Mixed Media dies from Tim Holtz, and they basically cut out like the negative. So I already cut these ATCs, so you could see they cut out the negative, which is really cool. It's unusual for a die, and I really like them to use them on backgrounds of ATCs. They fit pretty much perfectly on an ATC. They hang over a little bit, but that's okay. So I cut those already, and then we can work on our backgrounds. Put these to the side. Okay, so for one of them I used Distress inks, so we'll do that one first. So I used Mermaid Lagoon and Cracked Pistachio Distress inks. These are the little ones, and they're perfect if you just want a sample. So what I need is regular cardstock for this one. Okay, here we go. I just want to cut it a little smaller. Alright, so a little, I like to start with the lighter color first. I don't know why, just a preference. Hey Corey. I'm not going to be too precise with this because it's going to be covered up for the most part with the overlay, so just want to get some color on there. And now for the Mermaid Lagoon. I love this color. I think it's my favorite of the new distress colors. Well, I guess they're not new anymore, but okay. I'm going to put a little bit more cracked pistachio on there, get it a little more blended. Where's everybody from? I am in Pennsylvania in the United States, and it is, what made me think of it is Alter Joe was saying they're having a beautiful fall day today, and it's a beautiful fall day here too. It's been rainy for the past week, and today it's finally not rainy, and it's just one of those perfect days that is my favorite thing about fall. Okay, so that looks good. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect, just as long as there's some color on there. So we're going to glue this on here. I think what I'm going to do is, I think I'm just going to put some Collage Page on the background, or on the back of this. When I made this one, I used tacky glue, and it like seeped through, so that was kind of messy, so we'll just use some Collage Page. This is my favorite collaging or gluing medium, because it actually is matte, like I should say it's my favorite inexpensive collaging or gluing medium, because I do love the matte medium, the golden or the Liquitex, but as far as Mod Podge goes, the Mod Podge matte is not really completely matte, so this is actually matte, which I like. Okay, just plop this down here. Did seep through a little, but that's okay. Most of it is going to get covered up anyway. Just want to make sure all these little bits are stuck down, and we'll put this to the side and then we'll cut it out, and we'll work on this one a while. Excuse me. Let's see, Frick Vogue said, I'm sorry if I'm not saying that right, says, I'm from Norway and finally get to see you live. Excuse me, I'm so glad you finally get to see me live too. It's kind of like you're hanging out crafting with your friends, so that's awesome. Okay. Now for this one, I used some vintage book paper. This paper is from the vintage math book. And, okay, let's see. I probably shouldn't have got rid of the glue because now I'm going to need it again. Oh well. Well, we'll do the tacky glue on this one. Try to be a little careful here. So a funny story about when I was making the samples for this class, I of course waited to the last minute, and it was last Monday, and I got up super early to finish it, and I got a text at 6 a.m. from my pregnant sister saying that she was in labor. So I had to quick gather up everything I was working on and rush to the hospital. And I worked out the supply list while I was sitting there while she was in labor. So that's kind of funny, and it's something I'll always remember. Okay, so that's on there. It didn't seep through that much, but that's okay. All right, we'll cut these out. This vintage book paper tears really easy, and it makes a really cool edge. So sometimes if I can, I like to tear it rather than cut it. Okay, that looks good. And this one we're going to have to cut. This one has a lot more white space left than this one does. So I'm going to do some stamping, I think, just to fill in some of that space. Thank you. Altered Joe says beautiful color of nail polish. It's one of those new fall colors from Essie. I forget what it's called. Plum something, plumtastic, plum something. Okay. Could have got a little more precise. Okay, there we go. Alright, let's do a little stamping. I think I'm going to use some gray, and I have the Hickory Smoke Distress ink, which is, I think, I only have one other gray ink pad to compare it to, and it's the Watering Can Archival ink, but I love the Hickory Smoke color. I think it's my favorite gray. Let's see. Trying to find a stamp here. Okay. I'm going to use this stamp. I believe it's called Texture Mesh or Mesh Texture. It's from Viva Las Vegas Stamps. I'm just going to randomly just lightly touch it around. Just to get a little something on there. Okay, works for me. And while we have this out, I'm going to go around the edges with this. I hope it's dry. Dry enough anyway. It's kind of resisting my ink where the glue seeped over. That's unexpected, but that's alright. It's just the background. Hopefully it won't be too noticeable. Okay. I think I want to make it a little darker actually. That white looks really white against the blue and the teal. And it's actually kind of cool. I'm not sure if you can see that, where it's like resisting because of the glue. It actually looks really cool. It's like one of those happy accidents, as they say. Yeah, I like that. It looks very distressed. Neat. Okay. Okay, that looks good to me. And for this guy, I thought I would use my favorite brown, which is ground espresso. Espresso, not espresso. Espresso. Okay. To the edges. I love this brown. Other than using real coffee, this is the only brown I found that has that like perfect vintagey color. And you can't really use real coffee to go around the edges like this. That's going on really dark. Okay, I'm gonna blot some of that off. Hey Karen! There's a lot of ink on there, so let me get some of it off. Oh, that's much better. Okay. So those are good. I'm going to put these to the side. Get some of this ink up first. Hey Dee Dee! Okay. So on these, I made little envelopes to go on them. And I don't have like one of those boards or anything. I just kind of eyeball it. But I do have some measurements so that it won't take me forever. Because sometimes when I make them just all willy-nilly, I have to cut and recut and everything. So I have some measurements here. But first, before we do that, okay, so I'm going to make 2 envelopes, one for each one. And the paper that I'm using is just regular cardstock, but it's embossed. And I used, let me see. This one is kind of like, I don't even know, it's like a geometric kind of pattern, and it's a We Are Memory Keepers embossing folder, but I don't know the name of it. And then this one is like a tree pattern, and it is from Darice. And yeah, so it's a tree pattern. That's really cool. And to color these, I'm using several colors of the Silks Acrylic Glaze. And for this one with the book page, I'm going to use this pomegranate color. And then for the tree one, I used the warm gray originally, but as I'm looking at the colors that I had this teal zircon, and I thought maybe I would add some touches of that when I do it. So this is also going to be really haphazardly put on there because you're not going to see a whole lot of it. You're just going to see a little bit, so it doesn't really matter if it looks that fantastic. My pomegranate kind of got a little goopy, so it's like really thick. But I actually saw that Color Art, who makes the silks, sells like the kind of goopy ones, and they're like factory seconds or whatever. Which I got this one at regular price. I'm not sure how much of the paper I need to cover. But that should be plenty for that one. Okay. And then for this one is the warm gray. Are you talking about this one, Karen? Yeah, it's an embossing folder. It's We Are Memory Keepers, and it's like a geometric kind of pattern. It embosses really deep too. I don't know if that could be the way my die cutting machine is too. It seems like all my embossing folders emboss really deep, but yeah, Karen, she says she doesn't ever use her embossing folders. I don't either, and I don't know why, because I really love the way it looks. Every once in a while, you gotta look around and see what I don't use and kind of bust it out, so. Okay, gonna go in with this warm gray. This goes on pretty thin, so I might put on a couple layers. Hi, Happy. I think I'm gonna add some of this teal. Let's see what it looks like. Ooh, that looks cool over the gray. Oh, Rhonda. Hi, Rhonda. I'm trying to watch the chat and create at the same time, which I'm a really slow crafter to begin with, so anything that slows me down more is probably not good, but I love these live streams because it's like you're hanging out crafting with your friends, which I don't get to do because I don't have any real life quote unquote crafty friends, or should I say not real life but crafty friends that live near me. There's a few that live in Pennsylvania, and you know, we can get together on a rare occasion, but not like once a week. Okay, I think that should be good for that. And while these are drying, rather than busting out the heat gun, I think we'll work on. So for these, I have pieces of fabric in the background, and I also have some fabric here on my word quote. And ow, my cat just clawed my leg. I think maybe she wants to craft too. Okay, what was I saying? Yeah. So there's fabric here. The fabric that I used, unfortunately, I looked and you can't really get it anymore unless, well, I couldn't find it anyway. But it's Fabric Elements by Rebecca Meyer, and she came out with this whole line with Fabric Editions is the company, I believe, and it was in which is the Joann's, right? Is that the one with the fabric? Yeah, Joann's. And so it's just like regular white fabric, but Rhonda asked if my sister had a boy or girl. She had a little girl. She We have a little boy already. He just turned 3, and now she just had a little girl. So she has the perfect little family now, and she is adorable. She is the cutest baby I've ever seen, other than my nephew, of course. They tie for cutest baby. Yeah, anyway, so it has like a pattern in it that resists. Now, in place of this, since it's not really easy to get, you could use, I know Finnabair has the resist canvas. You could use that, which would be pretty similar, or you could use regular white fabric and maybe go through a stencil with some gesso, and that'll resist in sort of a way. Hey, Scrap and Rooster. So those are some alternatives to use rather than this. But you might be able to find it if you Google it. It's Fabric Elements by Rebecca Meyer. She has a few patterns. This one, for these, there's like a doily pattern, and this is just like lines. So because it's fabric, I'm going to use the Adirondack color washes, which they're made for fabrics, but not that it matters because it's not like we're going to put these ATCs through the washer or anything, but you know, it's a really intense color, so it's good for fabric. So for this one, I'm going to use some of the butterscotch and the cranberry, and for this one I'm going to use the stream with a little bit of the butterscotch. So I think I'm going to cut this down a little bit. I like to give it a little snip and then rip it because it makes a really cool edge. And I want to make sure that I have enough for my little scrap for my title. Okay, we'll do that one first. Is it Neary? Am I seeing that right? My computer's kind of far away from me, so I have to kind of squint to see the chat. Oh, New York. I'm in Pennsylvania, Neary, and I lived in New York for about 6 years. It's one of the best places on earth, in my opinion. Okay, so we're going to do the cranberry and the butterscotch. I'm going to try to move everything away so I don't get everything. I like to spray my fabric with a little bit of water first, and then just go to town. And leave some space for the butterscotch. And then with the excess, I can maybe get away with not spraying again. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed the chat. Yeah, a Mixed Media Jenn on YouTube. And I actually have, I think, over 300 videos on my YouTube channel. So there's definitely other videos you can check out of mine. I would love it if you did that. And because I had everything set up for this Ustream, I did a live stream on YouTube this morning, which was pretty cool, and I think I'll do it again. Because like I said, it's like hanging out with your friends, just crafting, which is cool. So, okay. So I'm going to hang my fabric up so it can dry on its own while we work on the envelopes. Oh, I still have the other fabric to do. Scratch that. But I'm going to hang these up anyway. Let me blot this one off. Okay. I'm going to make sure this is really clean. I don't want any of that color getting on my other piece of fabric. Okay. Hang this guy up. just going to hang him to my tripod. There we go. Okay, and for the other piece, I'm going to use the stream with a touch of butterscotch. When I was doing the sample and I was making the fabric, it came out a little too blue, so I thought if I added a little bit of the butterscotch, it would make it more green or teal, so that's why I added the butterscotch. Let me spray some water here. I'm just gonna I think this one's leaking. I'm making a mess all over the place. Awesome. Okay. I'm just gonna take the lid and splatter it. Okay. Blot this off a little. I hate to waste all the spray, but I could use the paper towel in something. This is really messy work. Hi, Jonah. Okay, we'll hang this guy up and then we'll work on the envelopes. Alright, I want to make sure that this is really clean. Before I continue. Oh, Dee Dee's back. Yeah, they are the Adirondack color washes in Stream, Cranberry, and Butter Wash. Alright. I'm going to save those paper towels because they would be cool on another project. Okay, now the envelopes. Oh, I know what I wanted to do while I had my color washes out. Since, well, that one's... On this one, I have, a die. I'm sorry, I was reading the chat and I saw Dee Dee say, haha, that stuff isn't good. It's all old and lame. I'm like, what is she talking about? And she's talking about her work. It's not old and lame. It's old, but awesome. Dee Dee's one of my faves. Okay. So yeah. So I used this dye, but I colored it with the color wash. So I should have done that with the extra ink that I had, but you live and you learn, right? Alright. I'm just gonna spray that and hope it doesn't break because it's really thin. I'm going to put it to the side and let it dry. Put it up here. There we go. Now I gotta clean my thing again. I hope I don't go over an hour. Okay, so now we're gonna work on the envelopes. Excuse me. Okay, so let's do this one first. So like I said, you don't need a board or anything, one of those punch boards. You can just, as long as you have something to score with, you can make an envelope. Alright, so this one's going to be 5 inches tall and 2 1/4 inches wide. So I'm going to cut off the sides where there's no... I need a new blade on my paper trimmer. It like kind of just rips through the embossing. Ay. See, I thought I had everything set up, but apparently I overlooked the fact that I need a new blade. And then it's going to be 5 inches tall. Ah, we can just kind of... Well, you kind of can't see it. Okay, well, we have the trimmer out. This one's still kind of wet, but... So it's 2 1/4 wide. I wonder if I wrote down my measurements wrong, because 2 1/4 seems really not that wide, but so I did this one at 2 1/2 just to be sure. Excuse me. Okay, so then it's going to be 5 inches tall. Oh, this trimmer's the worst. My cat keeps clawing my legs. I don't know if she wants food or if she's confused as to why I'm talking to myself or what. Okay, there we go. So I don't have a scoreboard. What I use is the little like cutting line and a mechanical pencil with the lead in, like, so it's just the plastic tip. So we're gonna score at 1 inch and 2 inches. So 1 inch, and this is going to be the flap. 1 inch, and then at 2 inches, no, 2 inches past that. Oh, 2 inches on this side. See, it's all, oh, you can't even see that, I'm sorry. It's all just troubleshooting, really. So then when it closes, it's going to be like that, but we need to make the sides. So then I'm going to score in 1/4 inch on each side. And then okay, I'm trying to work this out in my head here. So it's going to fold. I got myself confused now. Okay, so we're going to, like this. We're just going to trim here, here, I'm going to make like a little triangle cut here so it's easier to close. And then you just fold them in. And it's not perfect. There's white hanging over that we'll have to cut. But before I start gluing, I'm going to round the corners of this. This is a 1/2 inch corner rounder. And then we'll do this. Okay, so we're going to score at 1 inch from one side and then 2 inches from the other side, and then we're going to score down the whole side a quarter of an inch on the left side and a 1/4 inch on the right side. I'm sorry guys, I seem to have developed a cough, which I didn't have before the Ustream started, but of course now I have it. And now we're going to trim it. So we're going to trim starting where the closure flap is. It's hard to see my score lines on. It's easier to see this way. And using this method, you can really make this type of envelope with any size you want. You just change the measurements to what you want. Excuse me, I often make envelopes as little embellishments. And you don't need one of those punch boards or envelope boards. So we're gonna, oh yeah, Altered Joe says probably all the sprays left a mist in the air. Okay. Yeah, Dee Dee, these can be any size. She asked if the envelopes can be any size. They can. I do trial and error. I make one, and like if it's too big, just chop a little off. But yeah, you can make any size really. So they have a little bit over the edge, of white over the edge, so I'm just going to trim that off. Okay. Actually, this is a little too wide, actually. I'm missing my other ATC. Well, oh, here it is. Yeah, that's a little more wide than I wanted, actually. So I think I'm going to trim it down a little more. See, this one's much smaller. I don't know how that happened. That's funny. Yeah, I'm going to trim this down a little bit more. Maybe just, and then we'll do a 1/4 of an inch here. See, it's easy to just adjust then if it's too big. Of course, if it's too small, that's a little bit more difficult to adjust, but there we go. That's much better. Much better. Just trim that white off. Okay. I think we're done with the trimmer. Let me get my envelopes here. So I'm just going to glue them. Put a little bit of tacky glue on the little flaps. And glue them. This still has a little bit of white. There's glue on it. Ooh! Sorry, my alarm went off. Okay. So we're just going to glue those. And stick something on it so they stay glued. I'm going to put them off to the side. I think we might have to, well, okay, let's see. So for this guy, oh, let me get these out of the frame here. So for this guy, I have a die cut in the background, and it's actually from the Tim Holtz die set. It's called Wildflowers. And yeah, it's called Wildflowers. This one it's not the same as this one. They have a whole bunch of different dies in one set. So I thought I'd do this guy for this ATC. Okay, and you can cut it out. I have this one cut out of just like blue cardstock. But this one I have colored with Distress ink. Actually, I think we're going to go with the one that's colored cardstock. Make it easy and quicker here. Okay, so let's see. We just need to start assembling pretty much. Okay. I need to plug in my hot glue gun. Excuse me a second. Okay. My fabrics here. Where'd my blue fabric go? I don't know what I did with it. Ay, ay, ay. Oh, here it is. I think I'm going to have to dry these with the heat gun. I'm sorry about the noise. Okay, Karen, she says she's leaving. She's going home, and she'll see us in 10 minutes. I hope that we're pretty much almost done in 10 minutes, but you never know, Karen. Have a safe drive. We'll see you soon. Okay, I'm going to drive. Sorry about the noise. Yeah, the fabric is it's a brand called Fabric Elements, and it's by Rebecca Meyer. Um, and I got it at Joann's. She made a whole line called Fabric Elements, and it's by the company Fabric Editions. And basically, it is just plain. Um, it's plain like cotton fabric, and then it has this resist on it, so you can color it, and then you see the resist through it. I looked online, and you can't really get it anymore at Joann's, which is where I got mine. But in place of that, you could take regular white cotton fabric and go through a stencil with gesso, and that would create a resist of some sort. Or you could also use um, the Finnabair resist canvas, which would give a similar look. But yeah, it's basic white fabric with a resist pattern on it, and it's Fabric Elements by Rebecca Meyer. Okay, so let's do the blue one. So I'm just going to make a little square. I'm going to try to rip it as best I can because I like that tattered look. But sometimes when you rip it, it doesn't get that straight. Okay. Okay. Now that looks a little bit over. And I like to pull some of the threads out, make it a little more tattery. Now for these, Altered Joe asked, could we put a bit of gesso on our embossing folder and put the fabric through, or would that ruin the folders? I don't know. That's a really good idea, actually. I wonder. Yeah, I. That's a really good idea. And I think gel medium stenciled. Oh yeah, gel medium would be a really good resist. Also, yeah. So I sewed these down, but my sewing machine is on the other side of the room, and I don't want to leave you guys for that long. So I'm just going to glue this one down, and really in the end product, you can't really see the stitching that good anyway. So I'm just going to glue it down with some hot glue. Plus, in the interest of saving time, oh, but first I need to put my little guy back here. There we go. Ooh, that's hot. Okay. Oh, it is supposed to be on top. Oh, see, that's what happens when you try to rush around. So I'm going to color this die. This is one of the wildflowers, and then just put it on top. Oops. Just get a little color on there. They're really thin and fragile, so it's easy to rip them. Okay. Now I can put this guy on top. I'm going to add just wet glue for this, a little dot behind here, and a little dot behind here. And then the envelope will hold it in place too. Okay, where is our envelope? Okay. Now for the closure on this, I just used a brad. These are if I could find my brads. Here they are. These are the Finnabair mechanicals. They look like little screw heads, or whatever you would call them, like a hardware piece. So it doesn't really actually have to be functional, so, but you could make it functional. You could put a brad here in the top, and then you could put another brad down here, and then use a string for closure, and then it would be functional. Okay, so there's our little envelope. It's a little off center, but that's what happens when you don't measure things correctly or at all. Give this a little trim. I guess I could use the lines on here and that would make it more in the middle. Okay, and there's our little envelopes. So now we're going to take the gray one. Oh, and also to keep it closed so it's not popping up, you could put a little glue on there since, like I said, it's not functional, so it doesn't really need to open. But I have these little teeny paper clips from Tim Holtz, and just slide one of those on there so it's cute and it won't open. So now I'm going to glue this on here. There we go. And where's my, oh, here it is. And then we can pop this little guy on here. For this one with the browns and the magenta color, I chose a more rust colored metal, and this one I chose a more silver. I'm going to snip this guy off right here. And I'm going to add him over there with a little bit of wet glue. Okay, so now we'll get some fabric behind this one. Okay, that looks good. I like all these threads down here, so I'm trying to use that edge. Use this as a measurement. Okay. We'll just glue this bad boy on there. Okay. And then we can take our, I'm going to have to dry this a little, sorry for the noise. I tried to keep the heat gunning to a minimum, but sometimes you can't get around it. So I'm just going to dab a little bit of glue on here too. But the envelope will keep it secure for the most part. Okay. Pop our envelope on there. Now, like I said, my other ones I went around with a little stitching, but in the interest of saving time, I just glued them down. Okay, so now we can work on adding stuff to the front. For this one, I have one of these Tim Holtz metal pieces, which I'm going to put right there. And I'm going to add a flare. This is from Wow Studio, which is the best place to get chipboard and flare, in my opinion. And it's not just because Dee Dee owns the company. I really do love their products. They have the best flare, in my opinion. So I'm going to try to find a flare here to go on here. Sorry for the noise. Gypsy Soul, maybe? I like that. Should we do the moon? Yeah, let's do the moon. Yeah, I like the moon. Or maybe the stars. I'm so indecisive. They're all cool. She has such unique flair and chipboard. And the chipboard's really cool. It's that nice deep wood color. And I don't know how she cuts it, but it always, when you get it, it smells like the most delightful, like burnt wood when you take it out of the package. Okay, so let me stick these guys down on here. I'm sorry, guys, we're going over an hour. I'm a slow crafter, especially when I get to chatting and explaining, so I apologize for that. Hopefully next time, if there is a next time, I'll be more in the swing of things. We're kind of covering up our word here, but that's okay. So then I have a strip here that I can use to put a word, a sentiment strip. But before I do that, I want to add some, this is Golden Gold Mica Flake Small. And it's just this delightful gold mica. So I'm going to smear that around with a palette knife. Let's see here. It goes on like milky, but it dries clear, and then all you see are the mica flakes. I like to get it in all the little areas. Just adds a little something in the background. And it looks weird now, but it'll dry clear and look cool. And also for this one, I'm going to add some, also from Wow Studio, the chipboard. These are the confetti stars, they're called. Love these. Put these on everything. If you don't have these, you need these in your life. You'll put them on everything too, I guarantee you. My sister said she was gonna try to watch. So, Ange, if you're watching this, these are the little stars I was telling you about. We're trying to DIY a lot of the baby's room decor, and I told her she was asking if I had a star stencil, and I said I have a star stencil and a star stamp and chipboard stars, and she asked how big they were. So I just pop those on there. Probably not going to be able to see that one, but that's okay. Okay. All right. I think this might be the perfect size. Maybe a scotch too long, but let's get our word strip first and then we'll decide if it's too long. Okay. Oh, my sister is here. She's anonymous and a whole bunch of numbers. Yep, these are the stars I was talking about. I'm surprised that my sister's watching, because my nephew, whenever you're watching something on the computer, he's not having it. He has to be in control or there's a problem. He always wants to be watching what he wants to be watching, which is usually not me. What should we put? Should we put under the stars since it's a moon? Yeah, let's do that. It's probably not going to stick. Let's trim it down a little. Ow. And we'll add some of the ground espresso. Oh, we gotta say hi to my nephew. Hi, Brixton. Apparently he's watching too. Hi, Brixton. Okay. We'll add a little hot glue on here. And make this a little smaller. Okay, and once the gold mica dries, this will be all finished for this one. Okay, so now we just need to finish with this one. So for this one I have a little bit of, oh, I forgot to mention the word sticker for the magenta one is from the word stickers from the fortune teller excuse me, collection, and then I'm going to use this cutout from the elements from the fortune teller collection. It's a little gypsy lady, and I'm going to use one of these Tim Holtz game spinners underneath her. Let's see if I can find something else that can serve as a little bit of contrast. Do this octagon. Does that work? Not really. What about this? Well, oh, I know what we're going to do. Okay, so we're going to glue this down. And then for this one, we're going to add the golden glass bead gel. And this is just, it dries like little glass beads. I'm sure you can't see it, but we can put it behind, let's move this guy. We can put it behind the little lady here, and then it'll be a little bit of a contrast. So we're just going to smear it all over here. I'm going to make sure it's wide enough. Get some down here and up here. Put some over here and up here. Oh, I want to add some silver thread also. That'll help be a little bit of a contrast. Sorry, that's my alarm telling me I went 10 minutes over, but we're almost done. So we're just going to pop that in, and then that'll sit in the glass beads and act as an adhesive. And then I'm just going to add a little hot glue to this just to be safe. And we're going to add some stars to her also. Where'd my stars go? Okay. I'll pop this little flower in there too, if I can get it in there. There we go. Add some more glass beads here. And some more on top of here. Trim this little guy. There we go. Okay, now we need some stars. I like the real tiny ones. They're so cute. Okay. Is that it, or do I want more? You can never have too many stars. I'll do another open one up here. Is that going to stay? Oh, geez. You know what we're going to do? We're going to add some more glass beads. We have a runaway string. Okay. Now, there we go. And the very final last touch for this guy, we're going to add a little gesso. Excuse me, a little gesso to the stars. So I have the Liquitex Professional Gesso. And what I recently learned is the Liquitex Professional Gesso and the Liquitex Basics Gesso are completely different. I thought I didn't like Liquitex Gesso because I was using the Basics and it was real gritty and it like ripped your paper and I hated it. And I'm a big fan of the Golden Gesso because it's really smooth and creamy, but it's a little pricey. But I found out from watching Dee Dee's videos that the Liquitex Professional is completely different than the Liquitex Basics. The Liquitex Professional is very smooth and creamy. It's a really nice consistency. So I'm just going to add a bit of gesso on here. I want it pretty thick because I'm going to add a little bit of glitter on here. So just have a little bit of teal colored glitter. Sprinkle it on there. And I don't care if it sticks to the glass beads around it. It's fine by me. The more glitter, the better. Okay, and once that dries, the glass beads will be clear. So here are the ATCs, and yeah, ATCs are again 2.5 by 3.5 inches, and they are perfect for experimenting. And the video is a little bit blurry, but if you go to the Artist Live page, you can see what they look like, and you can see the clear pictures. So that's it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for joining me, and I had a lot of fun. These were a lot of fun to make, and I really appreciate everyone being here. It's like hanging out with your friends crafting, so it's a nice way to spend my afternoon. So thank you guys a bunch, and I will hopefully talk to you soon. Bye bye.